Okay, then let's keep it going. You know, when the National Assembly passed the amended Electoral Act the other day and transmitted it to Mr. President for assent, political commentators knew we were bracing up for intrigues and a lot of histrionics or theatrics from the political class. The narrative is assuming a more engaging dimension. The argument of forces opposed to the direct primary regime is that the cost was prohibitive, hence Mr. President should withhold his signature to the bill. But now, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has said categorically that political parties should bear the cost of primaries and not the electoral body. He was a guest of the House of Reps Committee on Appropriation. The electoral umpire, like the oracle, has spoken. Need one break this down? But let's share the story of the meeting with the lawmakers with you first. So it prepares the ground for the discussion. Watch this.
Electoral Act Amendment Bill has not ceased to be in the news. The National Assembly and state governors have been on a collision course over the mode of primary elections to be adopted. While the Parliament favoured direct primaries, the governors insist on indirect mode of candidate selection. Those against the direct primaries quoted INEC as having demanded over 500 billion naira to monitor. This was why the House last week passed a motion to invite the INEC chairman for clarity on the insinuations before the House Committee on Appropriation. At the end of the meeting held behind closed doors, INEC chairman says the commission did not put figure to any of the modes of election. He says the mode of elections remains the prerogative of political parties.
INEC did not come up with any cost for the conduct of primaries by political parties by direct method. We have had very good discussions with the Committee on Appropriations of the National Assembly pursuant to the resolution of the House. And what we discussed, you will not hear from me. Maybe the chairman of the committee will tell you.
The committee says the meeting cleared grey areas.
Discussion with the INEC chairman, it was on two discussions. One, his requirement for 2023 election. Secondly, on direct or indirect primaries. And on the direct or indirect primaries, in what we discussed with him, he specifically told us the role of INEC in direct or indirect primaries is just minimal.
Both men would not comment on the reported rejection of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill by President Muhammadu Buhari. Reacting to reports that President Muhammadu Buhari has rejected the latest amendment to the 2010 Electoral Act, the House says such insinuations remains the figment of the imagination of those behind it.
The Electoral Act, time is of the essence on it, based on the fact that the calendar is out for the election of 2023, and based on that, the earlier we get the Electoral Act out of the way, the better.
The House reaffirms its commitment to passing the 2022 appropriation bill before it proceeds on end of the year holiday next week. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
Yeah, okay. So the story is clear. So the INEC chairman had said, look, it is your business as a political party to fund your primaries, whether direct or indirect, and not the INEC. I think he is protected by the law.
That's fair enough. INEC has the responsibility of supervising the primaries. So as far as is concerned, there was no time that INEC said it needed up to 500 billion to successfully monitor the primaries. I'm happy that is the INEC chairman saying that, because one of the things, one of the propaganda pushed out by those opposed to the idea of direct primaries was the fact that they claim that it will cost INEC so much money, up to the tune of 500 billion. In fact, the House of Reps then even said if the INEC, if it will cost that much, that they will be willing to permit the president to take a loan
To fund it.
to fund, I mean, the
Primaries.
INEC's supervision of the primaries. And I felt that why do we always think that taking a loan is the solution or the way to go? We have seen parties conduct direct primaries in this country, and it didn't cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So the parties should go ahead and lay down the modalities. All INEC needs to do is simply to come and observe, not supervise, not direct. Just observe the process to be sure that the process is in line with democratic ethos. That's all.
Yeah, INEC has no business with how
INEC will not print ballot materials for the election.
Yeah.
INEC will not print. INEC will not incur huge logistic costs. All that INEC will need is just put their men on ground in those the designated voting points. So I think the INEC chairman handled the matter very well, and he has made it now look even less complicated.
Yeah, and
so
acrimonious.
Yes, that because for a lot of people, why should we spend that kind of money? Why should INEC has not even received sufficient funding for its activities? Not to talk of now planning to spend another 500 billion. Now we know that won't happen.
Yeah.
So let the parties go and work out how the direct primaries
because
will take
parties
place.
had done that before in the past.
Yes, in Osun, in Lagos, in Kano, we've had direct primaries.
Yeah, so
Adamawa, we had direct primaries.
yeah.
So it is possible if we commit ourselves to it. If we are honest about it, we can do it. It's very similar to option A4.
Yeah.
It's very similar to option A4. Everyone lines up behind the image of his
choice.
Yes, of his favorite candidate. And
Adekunle, so all these things we are hearing, is coming from players, political actors. We talk about theatrics and histrionics from them. So they must blow hot and cold.
Because it's about interest. Those who want direct primaries, it favors their interest. Those who don't want direct primaries, it doesn't.
Who prefer the indirect one?
Yes.
It also.
They don't. So whichever way you look at it, that is it. Anybody that is speaking, it's about two camps: the camps of governors, the camps of National Assembly members,
the folks.
And so the two blocks are very, very powerful. So, but even though one is powerful than the other, but now the other is proving that it's also powerful.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is Mr. President that will decide. Come December 16, we will know the position of the president.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't sign it, then we will see what the National Assembly
even after
can do.
the APC governors had a meeting with Mr. President?
All of them have had meetings, private, group, several kind of, they've been piling pressure on the president. And I like the way the president was trying to calm down now after that. No, I'm still consulting. I will consult political implication, economic implication, whatever is good that we do. Oh, that's great. And it's even got to a point that even some of the groups are saying they are so confident that the president will sign or the president will not sign.
Yeah.
So
it's all about
the president has not come out to say he will sign or he will not sign. So he just say he's still consulting.
Keep them guessing.
And he still, by law, he still has time till December 16.
Yeah, just would have made it 19 days.
So if he didn't do it and gives the reason, or if he does it, we will know by that date. Then whatever comes after, if he doesn't do it, then the ball falls back.
National Assembly.
Yes.
I hear
Because
all they need is 2/3 majority.
Yes.
They overrule.
We
Mr.
haven't
President.
seen them do that for a very long time. I think the last time was during Obasanjo. And many people will be very happy to even see this National Assembly, at least
for once.
assert,
Itself.
is themselves, so at least for once. You understand me?
Yeah.
I will one of such people.
Jide, but Nigerians are not properly educated on the merits and or demerits of the direct and or the indirect primary system.
No, I think the National Assembly spent the first 2 weeks before even the bill was passed trying to let Nigerians know why they took that decision, telling us that, look, this is the most participatory of all methods of choosing candidates. This is the one that puts power in the hands of every eligible
voter.
Every member, every card-carrying member
of
a political party.
Yeah.
Unlike the indirect primaries, where only delegates determine the fate of everyone, decide for everyone.
But even
And
the delegates
who even
are determined.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Now, who chooses those delegates? The governors. The governors are the leaders of the party in their states. They are the ones who finance the party, so they literally own the party. The way we are practicing party democracy in Nigeria currently was not the way it was practiced during the Awolowo era.
I still remember the
everyone back
Second
then.
Republic.
Every party member had his card where
You pay your dues.
once he pays his dues, it gets ticked. That is what puts power in your hands.
Yeah.
Governors were not sponsoring themselves, even if you had all the money in the world. It was the party sponsoring candidates. And to that extent, parties had firm grip of their governors.
They were the owners.
Yes, they were the owners of the party. But what we have in this case is the governors fund the party. It was not like that before. Party members used to fund the party. So we had party supremacy back then. Party supremacy, party discipline was greater back then. Today, if a governor does not like your face, you will not, even if you are the best in the National Assembly, you are not returning. And because governors are always targeting, especially governors on second term, are always targeting the National Assembly, they will look for a way to fight the person who is there and ensure that the career of that person ends. They will now go and replace the person in the National Assembly because they are after a seat.
Oh, yeah.
So they will chase him away and supplant him. They replace him by themselves. That is the power that
They will.
the direct primaries will take away from governors.
them.
And governors have been running from pillar to post. They don't want to see this happen. But my message for these governors who are playing God with the small letter G, my message for them is, one day you will leave that seat. You are behaving like that seat you brought it from heaven. One day you will leave that seat. You too will become a member of the House of Reps or Senate. You will now see why it makes sense for the ordinary folks in the parties to actually have the power to decide.
Yeah.
When you become, Shebi, today we are seeing what is happening in Gombe.
Yeah.
The current governor and the former governor, Danjuma Goje, they don't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
There was a time when Danjuma Goje had all the power. He was governor, could decide. Today, a new person is there, and that person, even he and the supporters want to determine when Goje can come into town. Goje was going to do wedding for his granddaughter. They are saying, no, you cannot come in. They blocked him. Where the man had been governor and made the current governor his commissioner.
Wow.
So this is the thing. Let the power go to the ordinary folks in the parties.
At least for one.
Yes, let them be able to decide.
Adekunle, because for once it was so. I remember in the Second Republic, we talked about Alhaji, the later Adisaki Loye, you know, still talking about the National Assembly and INEC chairman telling parties the issue of primaries, whether direct or indirect, the cost of those primaries must be borne by you. Yusuf, I was talking about the Second Republic, where at the national level, the chairman, national chairman of a national party was in charge. At the state level, the chairman of the state's, you know, chapters were in charge. But no longer. But how did we get here?
That's a big question, because when you look at politics that we do now, everybody goes into the party to seek what they can get. Before, it was service, because you are a member of the party, then you contribute.
Yeah.
You contribute. Now, you go to party meeting and you don't get anything. I doubt if you want to go next one. So they will have to share something, so that next time you feel like coming. So you are a card-carrying member of the party, fine, but you don't contribute anything to the party. All the parties. So no one is different.
So it's just big. It's just that you have a card,
now,
a membership card. That's
so
all.
This now leaves the room for big pockets. You are talking about governors. Those who are not governors are also owners of the party. Those who have money. You get my point? Because the moment you just dash out, dole out money.
You
become more than one person. You know, literally speaking. So that's just it. Now the governors and other big men in the party control the party. You see, direct primary, indirect primary, my take is there is no law. There is no beautiful initiative you bring to Nigeria. We have the incredible capacity to do things our way. If our politicians, you know, refuse to restructure their mindset, you get me?
We will still be
talking about the same issue again and again. There is no law that will bring to Nigeria. Nigerians are incredible. They can devise means of getting away with so many things. So I believe if they do this law, fine. But it is not the same politicians. If it's the same Nigerian politicians that are greedy, that are selfish, that are unpatriotic, that are corrupt,
that are unprincipled.
That are unprincipled. God bless you.
Since you are increasing it.
That are unprincipled, you know, that are shameless, that are very, very, you know, anti, you know, masses of Nigeria. So is it not the same set of people? So they only love themselves, they love their pocket, they love their own, how to aggrandize, make money and live big at the expense of everybody.
Which is saying, Jide, that the Nigerian electorate has been boxed into a helpless corner. He can do nothing. You
can do a lot. Did you see a video of Ghanaians who are rejecting bags of rice?
Yeah.
I saw a video again of where was this video shot to? Was it Edo or somewhere?
Within or without?
Nigeria. The road was bad, so they wanted to use some shortcut to bypass the bad road. So the people blocked the road. Say, you politicians, you are not going to pass through this place. Go and use that bad road that you people have refused to fix. So I said, this is good. They are beginning to stand up to these politicians. Politicians who imagine that, look, that they are God and the rest of us are just their servants. You know, that they can twist the way they like They can twist us like magic potty. So they said, no, you can't use this road. That bad road that you want to avoid, go back. They blocked the road. And they were cooking on the road.
This last election in Anambra, what was this village? They were shining 5,000. People said no. We will vote.
Yes. Look at the woman. There's a woman that even Soludo even rewarded her because she rejected money that was brought to her. We can reject these things.
The women came together. They said no, not here. They refused the money. They refused to take the money. They said no, we will vote our question.
Which tells you the electorate has that power.
Nigerians have power. If they know that they can exercise their power, the politicians will sit up.
Yes, and we will get good leaders.
And before you know it, all those bad people will be afraid to come into the politics.
Because they know they will be rejected.
They know the consequences.
All right, we have a caller. Hassan is reaching us.
Thank you, from Abuja.
From Abuja, welcome. How do you do?
Mr. Yusuf, how are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. Longest time.
Okay then.
Yeah, I haven't been able to watch journalists hangout in the evening most times recently. But I follow up in the night. That was why I couldn't call.
Thank you, sir.
A quick one, the citizen. On the direct primary, Babajide got it right on the part of the people sponsoring the party. But how do we do that, Babajide? How do we make people believe in the party? How do we make people pay levies to the party at the end of every month? How do we make our leaders, like the president, go back to his ward for a ward meeting before election? How do we make people believe we thought could have done better?
Okay. Let him respond here quickly.
You understand?
Yeah.
We thought that the president could have strengthened the party's primacy, as Budget said. We thought he could. We have advised him. We have sent a letter to him. We've advised him on go to the ward, have a meeting at least once in a year in your ward.
Yeah.
Let politicians and people that vote.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Hassan. Mr. President is father of all, and as father figure, he knows what's best for his children. Yeah, do you quickly react?
The president has not taken any decision. Whatever people read in the newspapers is just speculation. Nothing official yet. We don't know what he's going to do. We don't know whether the House will override his veto,
We'll wait for the 19th.
Yes, no, the 16th. We don't know whether they will use their veto because they have it. They've used it before during the Obasanjo regime. No matter how happy the National Assembly is to work with you, if their interest is affected, because politics is an interest-driven game, you may then see them act in a way that shows that they are desperate to protect their interest.
I hear we must go. Time is the master. But let's thank you all the same, Jide, for coming.
Thanks.
And of course, Yusuf, we thank you for your time. That will just about do it on today's edition of the program. If you missed this edition, join us at 11 for the late edition. And on Sunday, 1:30, we're on air with the same show, an expanded one, 2 hours. And this show is also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now. Take care.